Hello future geographers, and welcome to the next video in our series. This one's going to look at religion and how it relates to the AP Human Geography exam. One of the things about religion, it's a great topic to always bring up at dinner tables and around Thanksgiving or even a first date. That and politics. Wonderful topics to bring up. Can't go wrong with those. Well, we have a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is see the difference between an ethnic religion and a universalizing religion. A universalizing religion is one that goes out and actively seeks converts, and there's four main ones that we look at. Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, and Sikhism. And again, these are religions that are going out and trying to seek converts to bring them in. Sometimes Saturday morning when you're trying to sleep in and it's like 7:30 or 8 o'clock and you just really were hoping to sleep in and somebody's politely knocking on the door. But anyway, universalizing religions go out and seek converts. The other main category is ethnic religions, and there's two main ones that Human Geography looks at. The first is Hinduism, and the second is Judaism. So let's go ahead and take a look at the hearths of where these religions started out from. Alright, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the hearths of these religions. Let's start with the ethnic religions. Hinduism started in South Asia, in what we call India today. Judaism started in the Eastern Mediterranean area, in what is now today Israel. Let's go ahead and shift our focus to the universalizing religions. Buddhism, which is an offshoot of Hinduism, started in South Asia as well, but a little bit more northeastern of where India is, in what is today Nepal. Christianity, an offshoot of Judaism, started in the Eastern Mediterranean area as well, in what is called Israel. Islam started up in Southwest Asia, in what is today Saudi Arabia. And Sikhism, which is a combination of Islam and Hinduism, started right on the border of India and Pakistan, much in the area of what is called the Kashmir region today. The one thing we would like you to notice about the religions is they all started in Asia. All of the major religions we cover started in South Asia or Southwest Asia. And we really want you to make the connection to that's also where there was a solid area of substantial agriculture products, and also where some of the first major cities and urban areas were. Alright, so now let's take a look at the migration and movement of all these religions. We're going to start with the ethnic religions. As we talked about previously, Hinduism is an ethnic religion, so they don't go out actively seeking converts. So how did Hinduism move around the world? Well, when we look at one of the beautiful maps that we give you, you can see that northern part of South America is a country called Guyana. Guyana has a high concentration of Hindus living there. So how did that work out if it wasn't missionaries? Well, it turns out in the 1800s, the British Empire got rid of slavery. They made it illegal, but they needed cheap labor. So they went back to India and encouraged Indians to move from India to Guyana to work in the plantations and the fields, thus relocating the people and relocating the religion. Another example of where we see Hinduism relocating is Africa. We could see pockets of Hinduism, especially along the east coast of Africa, not because of missionaries moving there and bringing the religion, but because of Indians moving there to look for work, especially in the agricultural fields. Another example of relocation diffusion for an ethnic religion is Judaism. As we mentioned, it started in the Eastern Mediterranean area. Today we call it Israel. And many Jews were scattered in 72 AD. This is when the Romans moved in and tore down the temple. It was called the Jewish diaspora. Well, many of these Jews moved into Europe, Northern Africa, Russia, and other areas. So it wasn't that the religion moved there by having missionaries go out, it moved there by people relocating and bringing the religion with them. We see this again happen in the 1930s as Jews were fleeing the Nazis. We see it move into places like the United States and Canada and other countries. So the people picked up, moved, and relocated the religion with them. Alright, so let's go ahead and start looking at our universalizing religions. Buddhism and Sikhism spread through relocation diffusion and expansion diffusion. Because they will go out and recruit people in, it expands outward. But also, as people that are Buddhist and Sikh go out and move and go to new regions, they relocate the religion as well. Christianity is very well known for expansion diffusion and relocation diffusion. Explorers since the 1400s have gone around the world conquering areas and forcing people to join or to convince people to join. So we see that as the expansion or contagious diffusion by going out and actively recruiting people in, either by force or by being nice and saying, hey, do you want to join us? We also see it through relocation diffusion. As the Spanish moved into the Americas, the Portuguese, the British, the French, they brought the religion with them and then spread it out from there. So we have seen Christianity use relocation diffusion and expansion diffusion. The same with Islam. Islam originally spread out from Saudi Arabia into northern Africa, east towards India, and then up into parts of the Balkan Peninsula through contagious diffusion. But then, also at that same time, we see a lot of Muslim traders going to places like Indonesia, Africa, and other parts of the world, taking the religion with them. So that's where we see the relocation diffusion. As these traders went out and made settlements, they then too tried to spread the religion from there, just as Christianity did. So when we look at universalizing religions, they can use both relocation diffusion by people moving and creating settlements, and contagious diffusion by trying to convert people around them. Our last topic we're going to look at is landscape, and religion has had a huge impact on the landscape. When we look at Christianity, Christian churches have always been a very big focal point of their communities throughout Europe and other parts of the world as they spread out. Churches with huge steeples on top usually were the tallest building in communities for the longest time. They also had buildings that were typically a little bit of a pointed roof area. That was to make the snow run off so that it would not weigh down. However, when we go to the Mediterranean regions and Eastern Europe, we can see where the Orthodox Christians adopted more of a Middle Eastern look to their churches when they spread out. Like Christianity, Islam also had buildings that were usually in the middle of town and very large, and were a big focal point of the vision. These large mosques had minarets around them that were used to call people to prayer. Moving over into South Asia, we can look at the Buddhist. And the Buddhists traditionally had stupas around the landscape, and these were places for meditation. Hindus have been known to have elaborate temples and shrines throughout the regions where they have settled. And the most famous landmark for the Jews is the Wailing Wall, or the Western Wall in Israel. The building that the Romans tore down, the Second Temple in 72 AD, and only left that wall part, and many Jews today go there to pray. So these are examples of how landscape has really been impacted by religion. We can also see that religion can have a very big impact in ethnic neighborhoods. Throughout the world, you can tell that sometimes you're in a certain ethnic neighborhood, whether it's Irish, whether it is a Jewish neighborhood or a German neighborhood, by looking at the churches that are built there. And those churches will either have writing or images that look very much like the people where they came from, bringing their culture and traditions to the towns and the cities that they settle down in.